They'll never be. Na, 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 na. What up, y'all? What up, y'all? Sorry I'm a little bit late, but hey. Listen to some Warriors and calm down. You dig? Anyway, welcome everybody. Today's topic is we're going to have a serious discussion today. I went into detail about last night during my live talking about why we should talk race and why it got to be in the forefront of the conversation. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. I saw the response. Ooh, I need that. I saw the response that our good brother Glasses had to Adin Ross and about academics and all those people. And there was a key part that I want to respond to. And the part I want to respond to is a part where they get into talking about why we shouldn't talk about race. And I thought that was a very critical part of the discussion. And I'm watching this situation closely because the reason why I keep focusing in on this situation is because I see this as a theme that we're going to be seeing throughout the year and until this thing is revolved. And that's the entitlement of white society and non-black society in black culture. A lot of these mainstream artists that have invited these people into our culture are now getting the get back from it, from these people that they invited in. Andrew Schultz last year, you saw the whole situation, and now you see this. This is a larger social theme that's going on here that I want to pay attention to and talk about. So that's what today's about. This isn't a clickbait video. This is a video to talk about how silence gets black men and black people overall hurt. This code of silence over something that should be talked about openly so people can strategize and learn how to deal with it. Because when you don't know how to deal with racism, white supremacy, you fall right into the traps that it has for your black ass. Traps like jail time. Traps like not being able to get access to jobs, loans, and things like that. But when you know what it is, know how to work it, and know how to address it, then you then learn how to boomty ramp around the bullshit. You dig? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Greetings, everybody. Coco Girl, DMS, Kenneth Berry, Cinematic Hood Soul. I appreciate all y'all for joining. What we're going to do is we're going to play some video, and then we're going to break all this down. Give me like 1 minute. We'll be right back. All right, let's go. All right, we here, we are here. What's up, y'all? Turn that down. Okay, yeah, we here. So now we're gonna talk about why silence is dangerous, and this is this is overall a message to the streets from the squares. I want to start off by saying this, and I mentioned it last night. So for those of you who were my live last night, bear with me through this part. But today's show is going to be totally different than what we talked about last night. Even though we talked about some of the same themes last night. This message is born out of, again, watching this whole situation happen in the gamer world and the online world, because the way the algorithm is set up, and it's been set up like this since before there was an internet algorithm, going back to the 90s when it came to just music out of the West Coast and the representation of black men out of the West Coast. The only, for the most part, image that's been projected of us has been the street character, the gangster, the thug, through rap, through TV, through media. It's only been particularly that image, especially on the men of the West Coast. And overall, as black America, we only get basically the thug or the self-righteous boule ass nigga that ain't saying nothing to help us, the Roland Martins, the Al Sharptons. So we get those two extremes, the Michael Eric Dysons. We get those two extremes. But for the 80% in the middle that aren't part of some aristocracy, boule bullshit, and who don't roam the streets, our voices for the most part have gone silent since the 1996 Telecommunications Act. And I will be doing a breakdown of the Telecommunications Act here on YouTube and deeper dives on Patreon next month in February, not celebrating, but recognizing the 30-year anniversary of the Telecommunications Act, when media and propaganda got completely thrown off kilter. We haven't seen the voice or heard the voice of a real black man and a real black woman in 30 years. They got rid of Scheherazade Ali, Dick Gregory, Claude Anderson, Dr. Welsing. These people got pushed off of TV. And here on the internet, they've gone so far as to silence Minister Farrakhan. You no longer see Khalid Muhammad videos in your algorithm. I'm sure me, like a lot of you guys 10 years ago, because you're interested in people like Khalid Muhammad, you would still get suggested Khalid Muhammad videos. When was the last time you've had a suggested Khalid Muhammad video? Or Delbert Blair, or Dick Gregory, or any of our ancestors that told it like it is? So the voice of the black person that really, really is down for our people, who didn't go through the route of killing our people first to earn our stripes, we've been silenced. And the dominant voice has been the street culture. No. California does not take a L. You take a L. Black people take a L. Because we ain't the ones that curate these images. And until you can show me your city, how you have the balance of both the thug and the Ice Cube, sit your clown ass down. Like I said before, in California, yeah, we got the thug image, but we also got RZA Islam. Show me your RZA Islam. I'll wait. Back to what we're talking about. So the image that's gotten out there through the mainstream has been that of the thug, of the street, of the hood. And synonymous with that is an overall message that's very, very, very dangerous to us. And we talked about this a little bit last night on the live. We talked about how when these people when this topic comes up, when this whole situation happens, we all sort of are grouped into one. But in particular, when it comes to the streets, there's a strong avoidance of talking about race and making race the center of attention, the center topic. People could talk all day about they set. People could talk all day about this person versus that person, the Lakers versus the Celtics versus the Bulls, but they cannot talk about race. And so this is something that I want to break down. So what I'm about to do right now is I'm about to play a few minutes of this interview that Glasses had yesterday. Give me like 3 minutes because I got my people here to wash my car. the car wash folks come to the house. They here. I got to take my car down. But they came at the perfect time because I want you to listen to this first part of Glasses and Trap talking about the whole background situation when it came to academics and that whole situation. And we're going to touch on some parts that I think is very, very critical that we address as Black people. So right now, let's go ahead and play this. And matter of fact, let me get a screenshot of it so y'all even know what's going on. Let me see here. Let me tell them I'm coming down. Let me get a screenshot of this and put it up because I do not want to play the video. As a matter of fact, I encourage you guys to go and watch the video yourself, the whole video, so that you can, do your own breakdown. You dig? But there's some very critical parts in here. So I'm about to play this video for about 3 minutes. A 3-minute section of this video. And then we're gonna break it all the way down when I get back. Alright, here we go. Let me put this up. Oh damn, I was behind the thing that whole time. Here we go. This is the video. Alright. Let's go.
All right, so the zone you was in within I agree with you completely.
Let me go back.
I was playing the songs this morning and I was just like, damn, this is exactly the same energy that's happening right now.
Do you think all right, so the zone you was in within I agree with you completely. And I feel like that it was, you think it built to this though? And it was like the kinetic energy, and like it was already like what you was writing and energy that we was feeling like that came to this combustion that just happened like that? Do you believe in shit like that, energy?
Yeah, I there's 100 ways, right? There's 100 ways to become successful at the elite level, right?
Yeah.
95 of them require you to sell out to some degree.
Yeah.
95 of them, you feel me? It requires a real sellout, bro. Like you gotta sell out. You know what I mean? Something that you believe in, they're gonna compromise that. And that's how you keep walking through 95 of these doors. Every door you step in, right? You decide like you're gonna sell out this idea, you're gonna sell out this idea, you're gonna sell out this idea. Every door. That's why a lot of people that become that successful, especially Black people, they immediately start abusing drugs or they start being a drunk. You know what I mean? It's like a gang member, feel me, that be out of pocket and he like, when he go on this spree and he trying to perform and he going to war and he start hurting too many brothers and it's just out of control, they end up getting high on drugs all the time. Like, I remember before I start rapping, like most people don't know, like I didn't get on and rap till I was like 26, 27. Because before that, I was just gangbanging all the time. That's all I was doing. And certain homies would be like insanely pumped up in the war. You know, they would be ready to gun everything down, and they was wild. But I noticed before they would do it, they would smoke Sherm. And I remember like, and because I used to sell PCP, right, which is this is like a different type of drug that kind of gets people going, you know what I mean? That makes them it makes them it gives them like a different level of courage or they forget what's happening. They was like way over the top. But I think they was doing the Sherm to not have to deal with the things that they were doing.
In reality, yeah.
Right. And I think that's what's happening to a lot of these success stories that start to sell part of themselves. You feel me? As they walk through each doors. Because once you go through that first door, selling yourself short, right? Selling out your beliefs, the next door is they want something else. And then the next door, they want something else. And then the next door, they want something else. And next thing you know, you in a bed with Diddy waking up.
I knew you was about to say that. I knew you was about to say
why?
I knew that the sword shit was coming. Pause, me. I think that I don't think you go through too many doors so you get to that one. I think that might be like the second door, B, on some real shit. I don't think you don't just keep going through doors and doors, and then all of a sudden you waking up sore. No, that's like the second door.
But I'm saying every door you go
through. The first one might be putting the dress on. The second one is waking up sore.
Nah, but it don't have to be something as traumatic as putting a dress on for some people. Some people that don't mean nothing because they believe in that level of comedy. It's when you start to sell out things you believe in to get through that door. Like some people don't mind putting on a dress. That's their style of comedy. They think it's funny. And that's a different person. But I'm saying the problem is out of those 100 doors to be successful, the first 95 of them require you to compromise something, right, that you believe in. That's what selling out is. Right. And then so every time you keep going through doors to get into each level of success, you sell something else you believe in.
That's some real talk.
Cool, right. So there's 2 doors that's mystery doors, and there's 3 doors left that don't require you to sell nothing. But them doors is so far down, it's scary. It's so far down, it's scary. So to your question, like about this energy, it's just timing. I've been walking this whole time.
So that's basically Glasses establishing himself and talking about what's going on. I wanted to have that as a background to what we about to get into. Now I want to fast forward to a part to where he talks about because I like to establish the base and the foundation so you see the angle somebody's coming from. I don't want to highly edit anybody's words, you know. So that shows, he understands. Like I said, this is in no conflict with what Glasses is saying at all, or Trap. I ain't got no issues with either of these brothers. This is my new favorite podcast. It's been one of the first new podcasts I could listen to from beginning to end out there. So this is like my favorite new show. So that's why I've been talking about it so much, because it's new, but I like the perception and the things that these brothers say. But this part right here, when he gets to talking about academics, this is where brothers start to miss the point. Right here is why delineation is so on point. This is why we delineate, and this is a point that people who don't understand delineation, that they're missing. Let's listen to this part where he gets in talking about academics.
Like, because it's like, it's funny coming into this conversation. I was looking at Akademiks talk to Adin Ross, right? Because I know I got like a level of respect for his talent. Like
background, basically what Akademiks, when he talked to the white boy Adin Ross, what Akademiks basically said was, basically that, that they clout chasing, that they tripping, and that no, you're not racist, Adin. You're just somebody who says this to everybody. It's not about race. And background on Akademiks is Jamaican. Akademiks who is someone who's gone so far as to call himself, I am Jamaican, I'm not black. And Academics came up basically on the whole War in Chirac series, something that a black American wouldn't do, especially at that time. See, when you don't understand delineation, which you don't understand that if somebody like an academic says, hey, I'm Jamaican, he's telling you, I'm not black, I'm Jamaican. And when people come to you with that, you got to believe them. And listen to this part right here.
You know what I mean? I understand what he is as a journalist. But it was a couple things that threw me off that he was saying. And it's not a ton of stuff. Like, I don't want to make this a little kid arguing match. But there's a little issue in how he sees things. It's the us versus me. Like in his mind, he feels like he's successful, and so people need him. He don't realize we made you successful.
That's true.
The culture make you successful. Without the blood and the deaths of them people from Chicago, you would be nothing.
That's a bet.
And I don't mean that to pull your coats or try to make you feel bad, but you do owe them. And see, the difference is to truly tap into being black and being righteous, bro, because you a Jamaican dude, homie. You a brother still. You feel me? But to tap in.
That part that you're a Jamaican dude, you're a brother still. I agree with that with Jamaicans who recognize that we all in this together as black people. I agree with that sentiment in that context. But Academics has gone out of his way to say, I'm a Jamaican, I'm not like you niggas. And this is where not understanding delineation bites black people in the ass. A message to the streets. This goes back to last year when Academics was running wild talking all that shit about different LA podcasters. And then it just made it all look bad when that one dude was seen cackling with Academics after he said he was going to whoop his ass. But that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. Made LA look real bad on some cloud chasing shit. But that's another story. But back then, Academics literally called into one of these LA podcasts and was going ham, talking all kind of shit. And people were still saying, Ack, you still my brother. Ack, you still my brother. He was doing everything to prove to you niggas that he's not your brother. And if you guys didn't have any kind of level of influence, he wouldn't be talking to you. He needs you because of your influence, because your influence continues his validation back with his people. Glasses understands that part right there. The part that he doesn't understand is Academics is somebody who's delineated himself as Jamaican, not black. This is why understanding delineation, why it's so important. Because the way Academics responded with Adin Ross and him agreeing with Adin Ross calling Doechii all kinds of bitches and stuff like that was because a tether is always going to agree with the white boy. That's what niggas got to understand. If he sees himself as Jamaican, not black, that means he's going to agree with white. There's a reason why people say not black. Not black means I'm aligned with white. And that's why understanding racial dynamics is so important. Because when you understand racial dynamics, you don't put yourself in this situation to get backstabbed. Academics been low-key making a lot of these, the LA, again, the street podcast, not us real, not us over here with the sensible logic. Academics never talk to us. He would say our followings are too small, and he might be right. But he wouldn't talk to us. But Academics in 2025 made a lot of LA podcasts look hella weak with the way he was talking and made all the tough talk. And he said, and the way he was talking, and the reason why he did that, the reason why he felt so comfortable doing that, because he no black. He Jamaican. People got to understand that means something when people see themselves that way. You got to listen to how people talk about themselves.
Is to do right and look out for those people. Those people that you built your major platform, that the reason I even realized who you were, to see your talent, was at the burden of them people killing and dying.
And I want you to hear that when I say talent, he literally made rage bait algorithm friendly content with the war in Chirac. Pointing out black depravity isn't talent. That's always been algorithm friendly. Making black people look like fools goes back to literal Jim Crow. And the Jim Crow plays in the South. There's always been an economy on making us look like degenerates. That's not talent. That's understanding America. That's just understanding the racial dynamics of America. Ariel Smoke says, especially T-Rail yapping and party. Yeah, I didn't want to say any names, Ariel Smoke, but we all saw that. It was a lot of yip yip yapping, and then when you see academics, it's I ain't gonna lie, I don't even like LA. I don't even like academics, but I call a ball, a strike a strike. Academics made LA street podcasting look like straight up fools last year. He tied you niggas up into a knot and a net, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like I didn't see it. He literally called into some of them podcasts and stood 15 toes down and made you niggas look silly. That shit was embarrassing. And then when old boy was on scene on a boat with him, I was like, no, no, no. I was not him. But when you don't understand delineation, when you don't understand the racial dynamics, or you want to act like they don't exist, that is what puts you in the quicksand. A message to the streets from the squares. Not understanding race is going to put you in quicksand every single time. Somebody said, oh, Red Supreme up in the building. What's up to Red Supreme? Y'all check out Red Supreme's channel. Easily one of my favorite channels. He's in my top 5 that I watch. Salute to Red Supreme. He in my top 5. Hey, Red, we got to link up, dog. Email me if you can. info@dewanb.com or contact@dewanb.com. Let me know your info. We got to link up, Red Supreme. We got to do some joint shit. So, when it comes down to it, not understanding race puts you in this quicksand. And it make you it puts you in a position to where you can get crossed up. It's like basketball. You got to study your opponent's tendencies. Does he go left? Does he go right? When he goes left, he goes to the basket. When he goes right, he pulls up. That's generally how. Is he left-handed, right-handed? Most left-handers pull up going right, go to the basket going left. His move is a short crossover. His counter move is a spin. I got to know these things about my opponent so I'm ready to defend him properly. If I'm playing Madden, I got to know what's the defense in. Are they in cover 2? Are they in zone? Are they in man? Let me send the receiver across the line and see if I'm in man coverage. Where's the safety playing? Is it single high, double high, 3 deep? If it's 3 deep, I'm gonna have 7 routes across the middle open. It's like playing Madden. That's what understanding racism is. It's playing Madden. And being able to read the defense so that you can put yourself in position to succeed. So let's keep going. Oh shit, Rocky just farted. It's about to be stinking like a motherfucker in here. Hold on, let me light the incense. I just heard Rocky let one go. That nigga just hit me with the. Oh shit. It's about to smell like a motherfucker in here. Let me light my incense. Yeah. That's real talk, Ariel Smoke. Yeah. Appreciate the super chat. Yeah. No, I like glass. I think glasses is solid. I do. I do. I think glasses is solid. I personally think glasses is solid. I'm not saying glasses ain't a solid nigga. Hell nah. Hell nah. I ain't saying that. I'm just saying when it comes to the racial dynamic, I would hope that brothers, you know, get into Neely Fuller and Dr. Welsing to learn what it really is. It's not about an opinion or like. Because if you read Neely Fuller, if you listen to Dr. Welsing videos, watch her videos, watch Dr. Neely Fuller videos, and you'll learn. You'll learn how to deal with it. You know. But let's keep going. This is a critical part I want to talk about when the hip hop is brought into it.
You were translating their culture and their pain to us. And I noticed that. And when I first met you, and I remember telling you, the one thing I realized about hip hop is the movement of us. It ain't the movement of me.
Really?
I was telling my niece, shout out to my little niece Dejanay, but she was saying Act already chose a side. I said,
when
nah,
it comes
Act
to this situation.
Yeah, she said Act chose a side. I'm like, nah, look at what he's saying. He didn't choose a side.
Yeah, hey, your niece was right. Academics did choose a side. And his side is clout. And you got to understand when somebody sees themselves as not black, I'm this, they're always going to side with the white person. This is why understanding racial dynamics is so important. Again, I'm not talking about the ones. I look at somebody like a Screwface John. He's Nigerian. But I'm person like Screwface, and I don't watch the videos a whole lot, so I'm not gonna act like I've seen all of his videos. But from what I've seen from Screwface John, is he's a proud Nigerian, but he also talks about hip hop as a culture with respect. And he has a code about him where he doesn't say certain things about artists. I don't think we would have never seen Screwface John doing a War in Chirac type series. When Academics came in with War in Chirac, he was telling you exactly what kind of immigrant he is. He was telling you that he's a tether, not somebody that's down with us as a people. Like I said, Screwface John is very clear about not being FBA. He's very clear about being Nigerian, but he's never been someone that has taken and stepped on the toes of Black Americans. However, Academics has been a habitual line stepper. Yeah, the niece was right, Arrow Smoke. Your niece was right. Okay, can we talk about without the FBA versus Tedder for about 5 minutes? No. No. If you have an issue with us bringing that up, that's your issue. We're not going in this chat room. We're not going to take on your issue. All right. Back to what we're talking about. You say he said something about Black American old tweet. Okay, I didn't see that, but I haven't. From the videos I've seen of Screwface, he's been solid. You know what I mean? And he could have, you know. I'm not gonna say he wasn't. So back to what we talking about. So we talking about academics and his tetherism. So this part right here. So I want to skip forward to this next part, and I want to address this.
I'm put on my jacket. I was like, what the fuck?
I'm a chosen, nominated, validated spokesman for this culture that we talking about. And not just nominated, validated, and represented of Crips, but of Pirus and Bloods. I'm not some person that just woke.
So that right there, and this is where we gotta pay attention to Glass's point of view. He made it very clear, even though he's speaking up for Doechii because she a black woman, he makes it very clear that he's a representative of the streets, not black people. I gotta take him for his word. The same way I took Akademiks for his word. And that's why I'm saying this is a message to the streets. What he's saying, I hear a lot from my cousins, my people that are in the streets. And this is what I want to say to the streets. The streets got to know that you definitely have a valid voice when it comes to speaking up. But the streets got to understand this also, that the non-street dude, the square, grew up on your same block. We had the same teachers. We had a lot of the same trauma. I know I done had 3 drive-bys on my next door neighbor's house. Some of those bullets hitting my house. I know I've seen people murdered on my block. You dig what I'm saying? We just chose different paths on how to deal with it. And oftentimes when it comes to the streets, the racial dynamic, I've seen this a lot. A lot of cats be wanting to look past the racial dynamic of things. You can't. Listen to the square. Because politics controls the streets. The streets don't control politics. Okay? Yeah, oftentimes the square grew up with less money and less resources. Hell yeah. But we chose to handle it in a way other than selling something to our people that they don't need. You dig? We just handled it a little bit differently. But we grew up on the same streets. So listen to a brother.
Woke up one day and got here. I went through hell to get here. I risked my life to get here. I did a million things to get where I'm at, to have this respect. I did.
And that respect is given. You dig what I'm saying? But I want people to understand, like, that can be dangerous when you're using blackness as a trope to speak for the streets. Because blackness and the streets are not synonymous. They're not. And as a black person who grew up in South Central, I refuse to make blackness, to continue to allow that lie that's been perpetuated since the mid-90s, that blackness and street are synonymous. The same streets that produced Nipsey Hussle produced Thundercat, the greatest bass player alive. The same streets that produced Kendrick Lamar produced Terrace Martin. The same LA streets that produced YG produced Kamasi Washington. The greatest jazz act on the planet right now. The same streets that produced any of these street dudes that you want to mention. Produced Brandon Coleman, Ryan Porter, all these great jazz musicians who are probably doing better than most of these rappers we speak of. They all come from the same streets of South Central LA. But why is it the person that lived that sold drugs gets the all the notoriety? Man, you got Kamasi doing TV shows, playing for the NFL national anthem in Brazil, playing for the Obamas in the White House from the same exact streets as the gangster rappers that we so celebrate and love and say LA is all about. Yeah, them same streets produce Tyrese. Them same streets produce Patrice Rushen. She LA, that's Patrice Rushen. Yeah, y'all better put some respect on Patrice Rushen. Same streets. So those of us who are not affiliated, we got to make it very clear that the streets don't speak for all of us. They don't. The streets speak for the streets. Yeah, Robert Glasper, but Robert Glasper's from Houston. I was mentioning LA musicians. Salute to Robert Glasper. That's the homie. Robert Glasper's from Houston. But still, the same streets that produced DJ Screw produced Robert Glasper. We could tell this series in every city across the nation. Thinks I'm good on Tyrese. Yeah, I kind of didn't bring up Tyrese for a reason. Somebody in the chat did. That nigga cried too much. Tyrese is one of the non-gangsters, but for us squares, we know Tyrese. I love Tyrese in the singing ability. But what do you want from me? I nigga cried too much. We got better representatives than that. Some respect to Tyrese, though. Shame. Uh-huh. Oh, shit. But anyway, he said Tyrese cried when he watched March of the Penguins. So yeah, I'm with you, Ariel Smoke. Yeah, but Tyrese, he's still a legend in his own right. I got two more clips I want to play, and then we're gonna really get down and talk about this, okay? I got two more clips I want to play.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's simple for you to tell that dude, you know what, man, you are going too far, bro. Like, damn, you'd have to call her 100 bitches and whores. You know, we is in America. We know what black people been through in this country. We should have some respect for that. It's okay if you tell him that. It don't mean you betraying him. It means you giving him real information. You know what I mean? And you should be the one informing a lot of these streamers.
Right there is where Glasses, what he's saying is 100% right. What he basically was saying was when Adin Ross was when he called Akademiks and he went off on, and Akademiks agreed with him, Glasses basically said, look, all you had to do was tell Adin Ross he was wrong. And you know what we've been through in this country. That's why delineation and understanding delineation is so important. What Glasses doesn't realize is Akademiks didn't go through those things in this country. Livingston came here to America, and then his mom got with a rich dude, and he doesn't have the same experiences you've had. His family lineage don't have the experiences. Do you think once Livingston got to America, that he immersed himself into the community and learned the history. Do you think Livingston spent time watching, after he got finished doing Chirac videos, he was watching Sinetta TV and John Henry Clark videos? Do you think Livingston was really doing that? Livingston isn't in position to teach Adin Ross what black people have gone through in this country because he wasn't in this country to go through it, nor did he take the time to learn, outside of a few TikTok clips that he may have seen. So that's where understanding delineation and why it means something. I get the sentiment, because what Glass is saying is 100,000% on point. 100,000% on point. But you're asking that of somebody who can't give that, because that's not his experience. You got to respect Livingston's experience. He doesn't have the experience of what we've gone through in this country. And at the same time, Adin Ross, when it comes to somebody that has white supremacist ideologies and white supremacist modes of operation, you can't sympathize with them and tell them what we've gone through. You can't sit back and say, hey man, this is what we've gone through as a people. He don't respect that. What he respect is what you was originally talking about, brother Glasses. And that's being on his head. He don't respect the history. He don't. And Livingston is somebody who is not in position to provide that history, because that history is not Livingston's experience. And that's why we delineate and say, and when we hear somebody like him say that I'm not black, but let me talk about let me get famous off these black people in Chicago. There's a why to everything. We don't delineate just to say I'm better than you. That's immature BS. We delineate because of, like, once I see, okay, he a Jamaican that makes his money on exploiting black culture, he's not somebody in position to do that. So I'm going to let this play for a little bit, because this next part, I'm going to let it play out for like a minute or two. It's a lot that they say here that we're going to go back and unpack it, and go back and unpack. And then we'll talk about it. If y'all want to call in later on, I'll open up the phone lines.
On what's happening here. But that means you may have to get informed yourself, bro.
But I think it's disingenuous when he said he doesn't see color. Because
that's the greatest lie ever told.
Even the insults that he came at you and Trap with were just, those were racially charged insults.
But that's why. But this is why.
Right here. That's the co-host, the one in the green Seahawks shirt. He's coming right down the middle. I like that brother's perspective. That brother in the green Seahawks shirt. This is him talking. He's saying, he's making it very clear that Adin came at y'all on some racial shit. But listen to how Glasses responds.
Disingenuous when he said he doesn't see color. Because
that's the greatest lie ever told.
Even the insults that he came at you and Trap with were just, those were racially charged insults.
But that's why. But this is why I haven't allowed y'all to use racial.
Crazy. Like this
is why I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all should stop saying that, because you're talking to a world that grew up with Barack Obama as the president, and they're not gonna quite understand this. This goes back before that time.
What when they understand
that right there? Glasses said that these streamers won't understand the race dynamic and won't in the world post Barack Obama. Brother, Barack Obama is a perfect example to use to discuss racial dynamics. But you got to understand racism, white supremacy to understand how to use Barack Obama in racial dynamics. Being president does not equal equality. being CEO, being the best basketball player, being the best appointed Negro does not equal acceptance. And that's, matter of fact, that's one of the first lessons the children need to learn. That it doesn't matter what your title is. Racism, white supremacy is a system that keeps your people locked down, the great majority. And it's a system that sometimes uses tokenized Negroes to give the illusion of progress. It didn't start with Barack Obama. It's always been that way. Okay? So he's basically saying, I don't want to bring up race because the youth won't understand race because Obama was president. No, 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 no. You mean to tell me Obama being president is they're not gonna understand when every time they turn on their PlayStation, they hear nigger, 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 nigger? Do you think that white kid is being told, or that non-black person is being told, hey, we once had a black president, you can no longer be racist? What in the hell? And I'm only using this as an example because I've heard this. Glasses ain't the first person I heard say this. I've heard a lot of black people say this, street and non-street. I've heard a lot of people say this. And I mean recently too. So this isn't necessarily about glasses. This is about the sentiment that a lot of people use. We had a black president. So how can we complain about racism? Because it still exists. And you didn't have a black president. Going back to understanding delineation, you had an African president with a white mom that was raised by a white mom, partially in Hawaii and Indonesia, who didn't come to America who didn't really get to Chicago like that until way after his formative years. He was an adult by the time he got to college, got to Chicago. His formative years were spent in Hawaii, Kansas, and Indonesia. There's nothing about that man's experience that has anything close. He don't have bloodline nor experiences as a black American. He's a dude that, according to Dick Gregory and Judge Joe Brown, took act when he came to LA, followed around Harry Lennox. Obama learned, according to Dick Gregory, according to Judge Joe Brown, Obama learned how to be black from this brother. Y'all know Harry Lennox? Acting classes. Learn how to walk like him. Learn how to talk like him. How in the hell did a nigga raised in Indonesia that went to Harvard talk and act like him? I'll wait. I'll wait.
And I wanted to offer you the chance to explain your action.
We're ready. We're prepared.
Let me see here. I was trying to find
Actor Harry Lennox is known.
I was trying to show a scene.
This show, Destination.
Here we go. It's an interview. This is who Barry Obama was trying to sound like and act like.
A little bit before this show, Destination Heaven, on a movie with David A.R. White.
Yes.
Which is called Nothing is Impossible. Mm-hmm. And so we had
I was trying to find some movie scenes that he was in, but it's hard to find movie scenes now. But yeah. But you gotta go beyond and look deeper and talk to people who study this kind of stuff to understand this kind of stuff. So yeah, black people, we can most definitely talk race, having a quote-unquote black president by Obama. Matter of fact, we can start the racial discussion with President Obama to talk about racial dynamics and how buffer classes are used. Yeah, Dresser from the Five Heartbeats, yes. That's who he was. Yep.
Let me have everybody in here.
Yeah, I remember this scene. Let me put up the scene. This is where Obama learned how to be black.
Come on, Heartbeats, let's go. Gentlemen, I got somebody I want you to meet. Sergeant Ernest Johnson, one of my oldest and finest buddies from the Army.
Do y'all know that's one of the Nicholas brothers? He's one of the Nicholas brothers.
Man, if you didn't like what I was doing, you could have come and talked to me. Instead of going behind my back, bringing in some old drunk...
Stop right there. Now don't let your mouth get you into something your ass can't get you out of. Anyway, let me see your best combination.
Huh?
Huh, my...
This is him when he was younger. Did y'all know that? This is him when he was younger. Greatest dance scene of all time, filmed in one take. See him on the left? That's the same man that was in the Five Heartbeats, the dancer. And this was the Nicholas brothers as children.
I'm sorry.
This is him when he was a child.
We want to see Major Joe.
On the left. From the Five Heartbeats on down.
Come on, Heartbeats, let's go.
Yep.
Gentlemen.
That's my favorite scene.
Get daddy.
That's fake Obama, right? That's the real Obama right there dancing.
Just as I thought. That ain't shit.
Ha!
Hold, Mike.
Did y'all
Pay
know?
attention and something.
Did y'all know that was the same black man on that scene that was doing this? Quick little history lesson. Now let's get back to the topic. But yeah, that's Obama. What's up, Great Black Shark? So, yeah, we can talk about race. Matter of fact, we have to talk about race in the context of Obama. Now let's keep going.
About him basically coming out and assuming that you had kids and that you don't take care of your baby mom. What's like? That's obvious right there, though.
But when you saying it's obvious, is we're grown, bro. We know the world before Barack Obama.
So you saying us dealing with
The Glasses said we know the world. The reason why we understand racism is because we understand the world pre-Obama. What's changed, black people? What's changed about the world since Obama? You mean tell me these kids can't understand race with the way Donald Trump talks? I mean, Charlie Kirk. These kids grew up. If you think about a kid right now that's 20, a 20-year-old just saw Charlie Kirk get memorialized as if he was some peace leader. To a 20-year-old, Nick Fuentes is normal. To a 15-year-old black kid, they see all the influence Nick Fuentes has. You mean to tell me we can't talk to them about race?
Control mine.
Remember we talked about kids, and I asked you, did your kids remember when you was trying to
Trying to make me
explain?
mad. I seem like I don't understand why you're doing this.
Well, because I'm trying to
I'm
get
trying to argue
y'all
with
to,
you today.
because I'm trying to get y'all to stop trying to blow a whistle that's not gonna go off right.
They think.
Okay, well, talk to y'all
Hey,
kids about racism.
What? No, I don't do that. What?
That was brother on the right, Trap. He said he don't talk to his kids about race. And that's the part I want to really, really hone in on now. It's imperative. And this is how I know you can talk to kids about race. When I was at my old job, I talked to all my black kids about race. 8-year-olds, 18-year-olds. Because you know that it's already hit them. You just got to approach it at their angle. By the time a black boy is 8 or 9, he's already had 2 or 3 very racist teachers. If he didn't have all black teachers, if he had non-black teachers, he's experienced it. Let me give you an example. About 10 years ago, I had a kid at this school on the east side. I think it was Bill Clear. It wasn't. Was it Brock? Let me see here. I had a kid over here on the east side at this school over here. I'm going to show y'all on the map. It's on the east side of LA. It was over here. Here it is. This school right here. Was it this school? Here it is, 93rd Street Elementary, right here on 93rd and San Pedro. It was at this school right here. I had a kid that I worked with. And it was this school right here. He was having these issues in class. And I had, for the most part, helped him with a lot of his issues. His behavior was doing a lot better. He was here at this school right here. His behavior was doing a lot better. For those you don't know, this is on the east side. This is in the hood of hoods. All right. But this kid had a really bad day. And I'm like, what's wrong? I can't say the kid's name. HIPAA violation. But he was really frustrated at his teacher. He had an Asian teacher. And his Asian teacher, this kid was having a tough day in class, but really what it was, he wasn't getting the concept of what she was teaching. However she was teaching, he was frustrated because he wasn't understanding the concept. This boy wanted to learn the concept, but there was a disconnect between what was being taught and how he was learning it, which generally comes down to a communication failure on the teacher, not the child. But instead of this Asian teacher saying, hey, how can I reword this? How can I help you? What can I say different? You know what the Asian teacher said? She said, I'm going to throw a name out there, Devontae. His name wasn't Devontae. He said, Devontae, I know your father is probably not at home, and that's a lot of pressure on you. But in spite of life's challenges, mind you, the boy is 8. In spite of life's challenges, you still need to focus and do your work. This is a fact. This happened. So the kid starts crying. And he starts, like he has a tantrum. So the school would always call me. Hey, he's having another episode. I get there. I find out the teacher equated this kid not understanding the concept, and she went right into the stereotype. The same stereotype that Adin Ross laid down on your black ass. The father not being home stereotype. You niggas don't understand how deep that stereotype goes. And this kid was triggered. You know why he was triggered? Because his father wasn't at home. But do you know why his father wasn't at home? Not because his father didn't love his mother. His father got killed. And he didn't even get killed over no street shit. It was like some random wrong place, wrong time shit. Around somebody else. And this was like within a week or two of the death date of his father. But the issue wasn't his father. The issue was the boy not understanding the concept that the teacher was teaching. This is the kind of shit our boys go through in these schools. I know because I wasn't out there gang banging. I was out there helping the kids so that they wouldn't be gang banging. So when you think that people like Adin Ross talking about baby daddies and baby mamas and taking care of your kids, those racist tropes go a lot further than you think, my brother. So if you talk to, and those of you out there who have kids, if you really sit down and talk to them about their day-to-day, don't ask I mean, I ain't talking about, did you do your homework? You took out the trash? A lot of you niggas only talk at y'all kids. That's why I had a job. Because so many fucking parents talk at their kids, not to their kids. And here I gotta come cleaning up the shit. In my old days. But I mean, ask questions just about, hey, what do you think about this teacher? Hey, how is it between you and that teacher? How do they talk to you? These kids will tell you. Most of the time, these kids are being mistreated like a motherfucker at these schools. And it's happening through microaggressions. They're not being called nigger. They're not being told overtly anything racist. They're being treated different. And it's even worse now because most of the hood is Mexican now. So most of these schools have Mexican staff, Mexican teachers, mostly Mexican students, and the black kids are kind of getting thrown in there, getting mistreated. You know how many black kids are getting mistreated at school because it's one black kid or two black kids and 12 and 30 Mexicans in there? These kids are getting caught. These kids are going to the staff saying those kids are calling me nigga, and the teachers ain't doing anything about it. That's some real shit. And listening to this real shit, that's why a lot of you, and this goes to you niggas that be in the chat, not all y'all in the chat, but this goes to some of you assholes in the chat that be like, man, on the West Coast, the Mexicans be doing that. Yeah, they be targeting kids, you stupid sorry bitch. You live in a town where it's all black, to where your kids ain't getting targeted. Mexicans ain't out here targeting no grown-ass people like me. They going at 7-year-olds. So the next time one of you sorry son of a bitches in the chat want to come around and be like, yeah, the Mexicans be saying all kinds of stuff to the people in LA. Yeah, they targeted 9-year-olds, nigga, that are outnumbered 30-1. So before you think you getting one off when you say that, understand that you are going at a victim and you know better than a white supremacist. This is some real shit going on right now. I know. My sister's a teacher, even though I don't engage in schools like the way I used to. My sister's a teacher. And my sister teaches at a school over here in Linwood. All Mexican staff. And so the few black kids out of there, they'll come to my sister and tell her what's going on. And then the Mexican staff won't do anything about it, won't suspend the kid. Matter of fact, they might harass the parents for even bringing it up. These kids are dealing with that right now. But the main niggas we got talking about let's not deal with race is the hood niggas. I'm a this gang, I'm a that gang, I'm not black. I'm a this, I'm a that. I'm from this street, I'm from that street. But this is what's going on with your kids inside these schools. Now. And you turning around and you saying you don't want to talk race with your kids? Here it is. It's always the moon barking at the dog barking at the moon. Somebody said, but Kendrick will have a Mexican rapper on the song. Yeah? So? You do know that Kendrick is on a major corporate label, right? And you do know that the label has to approve who and what goes on different songs, right? That's where a stupid bitch like yourself got to understand the music industry. And instead of talking about Kendrick having a Mexican rapper on his song, how about we use your stupid lame ass for some solutions? How about you give us some solutions than talking about a fucking rapper on a major label that has to do whatever the fuck the label says to do in order to get his songs off? How about we use your brain for a solution instead of the anecdotal turning your ass cheeks up because you scared to deal with the real problem ass nigga? You niggas are the worst. Like the one who just made that comment. I just laid out an issue that our children are facing, and you go right back to Kendrick Lamar, a fucking rapper. You better find a solution to this shit because it's coming to your city. I'm sure it's happening in Minneapolis right now, the Somalian kids and the black kids. Everything that's happening in LA is coming to your city. California is a beta test. The bullshit gets perfected and dumped on California before it comes to you. I'm looking for your solutions. Ho. Niggas get mad at Kendrick Lamar. What the fuck? Kendrick Lamar got to do with this? You're right, Spirit Wonder. This shit is coming to a city near you. You're right. All them independent black rappers on GNX, you got these hoe ass niggas want to talk about the one Mexican rapper who couldn't even do nothing with his opportunity. He got his lighting out. He got his lighting. He got his time in the sun, saying a couple different words, and you ain't heard from Lefty Gunplay since. He didn't even do nothing with his opportunity. You hear more about Lefty Gunplay from sorry ass niggas like that than you do any Lefty Gunplay's music. Going back to niggas that are the worst. You sideline niggas, y'all the worst. You niggas that always want to victim blame. You niggas that want to be critical of a damn rapper instead of having solutions off your rusty, dusty ass. Our kids are getting fucked over in these public institutions. They're getting passed over for grants. They're getting passed over for scholarships, and they black. They black getting passed over for black scholarships. You're right. If not Hispanics, it's Indians flooding every city. And let me tell you something. Going back to my street niggas. Those Indians, they're talking race in the home. The Indians that come here, they've been dealing with color-coded racism in their homeland for well over 1,500 years. Race and color is everything to these people. And this is what black people gotta understand and realize. You are the plug. You are the talent. You are the ultimate envy of people. They have penis envy of your black ass. They got talent envy. They got envy of your natural position here in this country versus their naturalized position in this country. These people got issues with you, and they don't mind taking it out on your kids. These people got issues with you, and they do not mind taking it out on your kids. And I'm going to go back to what I said last night. The streets and the squares need to hook up. The streets, the people from the streets, what y'all got to understand is this. Life ain't lived on prison rules. Life is not lived on street rules. Okay? You got to understand, street rules are reactionary. They're not proactive, they're reactive. Because ghettos are environments and systems that are engineered and created, not natural. Compton wasn't always a ghetto. Compton with a natural ecosystem is not a ghetto. Watts with a natural ecosystem is not a ghetto. South Central LA, none of these places are ghettos with natural ecosystems. None of these places. None of them. They became ghettos through social engineering when the drugs were dumped in. So let's break it down from a social engineering point of view. A ghetto is a place, and this goes back to Europe. Ghettos are European constructs. Think about this. Black people have only been living in ghettos for about 60 years. Three generations, one lifetime. When my grandfather bought his house on Broadway in Slauson, it wasn't a ghetto when he bought it in 1955. It became a ghetto 25 years later, about 1980. We've only been living in ghettos for a short amount of time. And how these places became ghettos is because drugs that we did not create were dumped in there. Jobs were removed from there. And resources became deprived. This wasn't a ghetto. In South Central, all of this here, everything you see here in the city of Vernon, these were all jobs in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Jobs that black people occupied. That's why South Central LA is where we lived. These were jobs. These were all jobs. Okay? Jobs everywhere you go. Every tire in America from Firestone was built here in the Firestone factory. It's now a shopping center. These were all jobs. These were all jobs. In the 70s, these jobs started to get removed and sent to China and put into prison. And those jobs were never replaced. So now you have this huge urban environment with a whole bunch of empty factories. And the thing that replaced these jobs was a drug economy that some, and I drive home the point, some people participated in. Because you got people out there that say, well, they didn't have to take drugs. Well, if you have an environment of 100 people and 10 of those 100 get hooked on drugs, or 16 of the 100, because at the end of the day, statistically speaking, every race of people in America, 16% of their population is going to be on drugs. White, black, Asian, Latino, anywhere from 16 to 18% of the population is going to be on drugs. These same 16 out of 100, out of 100, they were on heroin. But heroin, they could still function, go to their jobs, and live a life and still be a functional drug addict. Well, when over here at UCLA, they create this drug called crack at UCLA. And when UCLA is creating this drug known as crack cocaine, they're engineering this drug to take away all of your will to be constructive and to be productive. So you get people who are already on drugs, and when it comes down to it, there's only 16 out of 100. But if out of those 16 out of 100, they get this new drug that was created and targeted to only them, and you dump that 16% exclusively into this area right here, now people are losing jobs, and you're dealing with people with no discretion. These same mind control, these same experiments didn't just happen in Black America. They also happen in the in white America with the LSD stuff in Laurel Canyon of the late 1960s. And when they were faced with the LSD acid whole situation, there were more murders here in Laurel Canyon in 1966, 67, and 68, 69 than there was in South Central LA in that same time span. That is a verifiable fact. You dump a few drug addicts in with a lot of normal people, those 84 that aren't directly taking these drugs are affected by the 16 who are. There was an experiment up here in San Francisco in the Haight-Ashbury area. They called it the Haight. Go look up the Haight of the 60s. This is a time that they were experimenting with LSD, and they were running projects, and they were using people like Charles Manson. Charles Manson parole had him here in the Haight-Ashbury area, and they got to show that amongst these peaceful drug addict hippies, all they had to throw in was a couple people that were known to be extremely violent, and this whole traditionally peaceful Haight-Ashbury area of San Francisco became instantly violent overnight. It happened with white folks in 1967 here in the Haight-Ashbury area of San Francisco. This goes beyond color. It's human behavior. And when you dump certain types of people in environments of peace, the guaranteed conclusion is chaos. And a lot of you niggas on the streets, y'all victims of this. A lot of y'all, especially if you went to jail, a lot of you niggas is experiments. Yeah, because once you go to jail, guess what you lose? You lose your right. And they play these games, and they've been playing these games with prisoners for a long time. If you think I'm lying, read the book Chaos. Read about the Haight-Ashbury experiments and COINTELPRO. And how even with white folks, when they dump drugs around people of a particular lifestyle, the whole environment got corrupted. So when you're dealing with a thing known as a ghetto, you're dealing with social engineering to corrupt an environment of people. You're right, military enlisted too. A lot of military enlisted people are also subject to this. You did? You said, what's the name of the author of Chaos? Let me look it up. Let me show you. This is the book. It's called Chaos by Tom O'Neill. This is the book. There was literally an operation called Operation Chaos, and it was created to create chaos. And they experimented with white folks in Laurel Canyon and the Haight-Ashbury area of San Francisco, and they experimented with black people in the environment of the Panthers, and then going into the early days of the street environment. This is just what's being revealed. They're still doing stuff like this. We just don't know what it's called now. But we know about Operation Chaos. Street niggas is bigger than the streets. What I need my street cats to understand is it's bigger than you. You are a victim of these type social experiments. But when you see the world from the point of view of somebody who lived in a reactionary environment known as a ghetto, and you've adopted that as your ideology and as the way you see the world, it can skew why you think the way you think about race. Because if you dump yourself in there, and they actually have a documentary on Netflix about it. But if you identify with that and you stay within that, you're getting a skewed point of view over how all of this works. And understanding racism doesn't mean saying all white people are bad. No, that's not what racism is. All right? But we're going to talk about this some more probably later on tonight in the Q&A session. My cars are done. I don't want to take time to leave and come back. My cars are done, so I'm about to go get my cars from getting washed. But with that being said, yeah, silence is dangerous. Silence is danger. Silence is compliance. And it is dangerous to comply with this because our kids are dealing with some real shit. We better talk to the kids. You better prepare your children because it's just coming for them, whether they want to or not. And it's starting with their teachers. It starts with their cartoons. It starts with their favorite YouTube shows. It starts with that. So you got a choice. We're going to confront this directly or we're going to act like it don't exist, even though it's slapping you upside the face. All right? Thank y'all again for listening. I got some shit to do today. I appreciate y'all. We'll probably come back and do another nighttime talk from the garage tonight and interact, all right? Talk to your kids about what's going on because they facing it anyway. And it's time that the streets and the squares link up. Because y'all valuable and we valuable. But we most valuable when we work together. Instead of delineating from ourselves. We are one. All right? Thank y'all again for listening. We out.